In the game of loans, you either win or you learn. Welcome to the game of loans, where fortunes are forged and empires are built. Your hosts, lords of lending and wholesaling, are here to guide you through the realm of real estate and wealth building. Brace yourselves, cash flow is coming.
If we're going back to the different stages, one thing we didn't cover is like what can somebody reasonably expect to make, in these different stages. Wholesaling, I think, at first a reasonable target in your first couple of months is like one transaction, 1 to 2, and so the average wholesale fee is somewhere between $5,000 to $15,000. I've seen him over $100,000, if you really hit a home run. But most of those earlier wholesalers are going to get taken advantage of by the buyer. They're not going to know what kind of fee to charge and, how much margin to make. As you progress, I think by, the end of the first year, you should be doing 3 to 5 a month. And so I'd say reasonably you go from making $10,000 to $20,000 to making anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000 a month if you can successfully scale the business. And those are low numbers for some of the guys that I work with. Yeah. In year 2, when you start looking at holding property while wholesaling or flipping property while wholesaling, let's just say you're averaging 5 transactions a month and you keep one of them, just one. I think there's opportunity to do more, but you're going to have limitations on how much capital you have to hold those properties. Most light renovation, fix and flip properties, you should expect to make somewhere between $50,000 to $100,000 per project, and they should take you 4 to 6 months. So if you're doing one a month, which I think, one every other month is probably more reasonable. Right. Let's just say you do 5 for the year for simple math. You can make another $250,000 to $500,000 flipping those
on top of
whatever. Or let's just say you hold half of them. You still have that equity in the property, but you also benefit from the long-term appreciation. Right. So it's hard to put a number on how much you're going to make in future years. But if you were to hold a property for 10 years, it should reasonably double, in any market over that point in time. Right. So you're going from a $250,000 house to $500,000. So you're creating potentially $250,000 of future equity over the course of 10 years, and you have a pipeline of those. You can see how you become wealthy very quickly by building a portfolio of real estate you can hold. In year 3, we talked about starting to do more extensive rehabs and maybe getting into construction. Right. On a heavier remodel, depending on the market, you should be making anywhere between $100,000 to like $500,000 profit on those projects. But they're going to take a year to 18 months. And you're not going to be able to juggle too many at once. I think a reasonable number would be 4 to 6 lighter rehabs and maybe 1 or 2 heavier rehabs in year 3. So we're talking over $1 million plus all your wholesale fee income still coming in. You should be past 5 transactions a month and starting to scale to 5 to 10 range. So I think it's reasonable in year 3 that somebody can easily clear $1 million in year 3. Year 4, we start getting into scaling your construction business and also starting to become your own builder or GC, getting your real estate license, things like this. And then we can blend this years 4 through 6 because, how quickly someone goes through from stage 4 to 6 depends on, how well they apply themselves, how quickly they can learn things and how well they can manage their business. But, those guys that can really get to that level, they're clearing anywhere between, I'd say $1 to $10 million. Right. And, if you're in, if you're really good at sourcing properties, and you know how to find the right deals and you're dealing with higher valued properties, there's guys making $25-50 million a year, in that segment of the market. So, again, these don't have to be years. They can be stages. Somebody might be stuck in stage 1 for 3 years because they just can't figure out how to generate enough wholesale income to start holding properties. But, I think as a wholesaler, an entry-level wholesaler, it's reasonable to, make $100,000 to $300,000 in your first year if you can really go out there and execute. Flippers, $500,000 to $1.5 million. Builders, $1 million to $5 million. And then your top tier guys that have everything, all the support services, all the licensing, everything in-house, vertically integrated, where you're managing all of these functions in-house, yourself, making $5 to $50 million is not out of the question there.
So bottom line is, you want them fucking money, go out there and fucking work. That's it. So the harder you work, I think one thing that I think, Ross, you will agree with me on is that there's a direct correlation. And I know we're going to get comments that, oh, you have to work smarter and shit like that. That's fucking given. That's given. But that being given, there is a direct correlation between how hard you work, especially on the wholesaling side, and how successful you're going to become. Right? Would you say that that's the case?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
You know, it's sweat equity at that
Sweat
point.
equity.
You know,
and the bottom line is, you want to hit those numbers on the high end side that Ross was talking about. It's going to be not just fucking working smart. That's a fucking given. I'm not telling you to be a dumb mule. I'm telling you, have half a fucking brain, work smart, put the work in, and you're going to hit those $25, $50 million years. I promise you. You've been listening to The Game of Loans, where real estate battles are fought and won. Make sure to fortify your defenses by subscribing. Cash flow is coming, and we'll be back next time to help you claim your throne. The war of wealth continues.